Good afternoon, one and all. I am 𝗘𝗽𝗍𝗁. I am studying 9th standard. I am a student of TTWREIS Girls Echila. Today I am here to participate in super student competition, and today I am going to explain an interesting topic from physical science. Before going to discuss our topic, what do you observe in your surroundings? You may observe chairs, benches, blackboard, pen, pencil, water bottle, etc. Why do we use chairs? To sit. Why do we use blackboard? To write. And why do we use water? To drink and for our needs like bathing, washing clothes, etc. So these are made up of some materials and these occupy space and has mass. So we call these as matter. So we use the word matter in many situations in our daily life. Like, what is matter today? How is the matter? Let us discuss the matter later. But matter has scientific meaning in science. So let us know about it. Today I am going to discuss about matter. By the end of the session, we will learn about what is matter, the states of matter, what is matter made up of, characteristics of particles, properties of solids, liquids, gases, and the last one is sublimation. Okay, now we are going to learn about what is matter. Do you know what is matter? So here you can see what is matter. Anything that occupies space and has mass, it is considered as matter. For example, this perfume. This perfume is occupying some space and has mass, it is considered as matter. Okay, now this ball. This ball is also occupying some space and has mass. So it is also considered as matter. Okay, we know anything that has mass and occupies space is called matter. So here you can see some examples to show matter has mass. So fruits and human being has mass. So examples to show matter occupies space. Air in the balloon, water in the glass, bag in the room. These are all occupying some space and these has mass. So these are considered as matter. And also some examples to show matter. Glasses, clouds, sun, plant, human being, computer, coffee. These are the examples of matter because these are occupying some space on the universe and these are occupying some space. So these we consider as matter. So what is matter here? Anything that occupies space and has mass, it is considered as matter. Okay, we had learned about what is matter. Now we are going to learn about the states of matter. Do you know what are the states of matter? There are three states of matter are there. They are solids, liquids and gases. In solids we can observe the chairs, benches, pen, pencil, book. These are comes under the examples of solids. In liquids we can observe petrol, diesel, milk, water, juice. These are the examples of liquids. When coming to gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide, air, these are the best examples of gases. But in liquids we can see petrol and water are those are the examples of liquids, but the properties of water and petrol are different. Hence, liquids and gases can flow easily. So, they are called fluids. Okay. Do you find any substance in these three states? Yes. We can find water in these three states. Ice cube in solid form, water in liquid form, water vapor in gaseous form. We cannot find any substance in these three states like water. Okay, here you can see this is a cube. Okay, it is comes under the example of solid. And this balloon. Balloon in the air in the balloon is the example of gases. And water in the bottle, it is the example of liquid. So these are the examples of solids, liquids and gases. Also here you can see the examples of solids, liquids and gases. Hammer, pillars, watch and tables, benches. These comes under the examples of solids. In liquids, coffee, milk, water, candle, fire. These are the examples of liquids. In gases, we can observe fire and evaporation, stream, gases. These are the examples of gases. There is also another two states of matter are there. They are, the fourth state of matter is plasma. The plasma exists in neon, fluorescent tubes, etc. And the fifth state of matter is BEC, that is Bose-Einstein condensate. In 1920, an Indian physicist Satyendranath Bose had done some experiments to find the fifth state of matter. Building on his calculations, Albert Einstein predicted a new state of matter, that is the fifth state of matter, BEC, Bose-Einstein condensate. So here you can see some examples of plasma, neon, fluorescent tubes and solar wind. These are the examples of plasma. For examples to show Bose-Einstein condensate, laser, neutron stars and quantum computers. These are the examples of Bose-Einstein condensate. Okay, we had learnt about the 5 states of matter. They are solids, liquids, gases, plasma and BEC, Bose-Einstein condensate. Okay, now we are going to learn about what is a matter made up of. Do you know what is a matter made up of? Okay, you may observe many buildings in your surroundings like malls, hospitals and buildings, houses, etc. So, how is a building constructed? You may answer, a building is constructed with sand, cement and bricks, water, etc. So, a building is constructed with a number of bricks. Similarly, like that, matter also made up of very tiny particles which are smaller beyond our imagination. So, matter is made up of very tiny particles which are smaller beyond our imagination. For example, this chalk piece. You can see this chalk piece have very fine pieces of chalk in this chalk piece, and these fine pieces of chalk which can bind a big chalk. So this is an example to show matter has very tiny particles. Okay, we had learnt what is a matter made up of. Now we are going to learn about characteristics of particles. So do you know what are the characteristics of particles? There are 4 main characteristics of particles are there. They are, the particles of matter are very small, and the second one is the particles of matter have space between them, and the third one is the particles of matter are continuously moving, and the fourth one is the particles of matter attract each other. Okay, now the particles of matter are very small. To find this, here I am going to do one small activity. I am taking 3 glasses here. I am pouring some water in each of the glass. Okay, now I am going to add some potassium permanganate crystals in the first glass of water. I am mixing it with the help of the spoon. I am pouring 2 spoons of this colored water from first glass to the second glass. Again I am pouring 2 spoons of this colored water from second glass to the third glass. Okay, what do you observe here? You may observe the color is changing. And do you think how it is possible to some crystals of potassium permanganate to spread in this large volume of water? So here we can notice that how small are the particles of matter are. And there is also another example, that is this chalk piece. This chalk piece have very fine pieces of chalk and which can bind a big chalk. So matter have very tiny particles. And the second characteristic is the particles of matter have space between them. To know this, here I am going to take one glass. I am pouring some water in the glass. Now I am adding 1 spoon of salt to the glass of the water. I am mixing it with the help of this spoon. So what do you observe here? The salt is dissolving in the water. Do you think the volume of the water is increased? No, the volume of the water doesn't increase because there is some gap between the particles of water and those gaps are filled with the particles of salt. So the volume of the water doesn't increase or doesn't decrease. Okay, now the third characteristic is the particles of matter are moving continuously. Here I am taking one glass and I am pouring some water in the glass. I am adding some potassium permanganate crystals into the glass of water. So what do you observe here? The particles of crystals are spreading in the whole water. Means the particles of matter are moving continuously. This is called diffusion. Diffusion is nothing but the particles of matter moving continuously from high concentration to low concentration. It is considered as diffusion. Okay, we learned 3 characteristics. Now the fourth one is the particles of matter attract each other. Here you can see this chalk piece. This chalk piece have fixed shape and it is a rigid substance because the particles of this chalk piece are attracting each other. Okay, we had learned 4 characteristics of particles. They are the particles of matter are very small, and the second one is the particles of matter have space between them, and the third one is the particles of matter moving continuously, and the fourth one is the particles of matter attract each other. Okay, now the next one is, here you can see the first characteristic of matter. Matter is made up of small particles. For example, chalk piece. Okay, now the second characteristic is particles of matter have space between them. Here we done an activity, that is the particles of water have space between them and those gaps are filled with the particles of salt. This is the second characteristic. And we done the third characteristic activity, that is the particles of matter moving continuously. That is known as diffusion. And the fourth characteristic is the particles of matter attract each other because they are rigid and fixed shape. Okay, now the next one is we are going to learn about properties of solids, liquids and gases. So here you can see these 3 properties. Okay, the first property is rigidity. Do you know what is meant by rigidity? Rigidity is nothing but not flexible and it does not changes its shape. Okay, so we can observe solids have fixed shape. So solids are rigid. When coming to liquids and gases, they are not rigid. They can flow easily from one place to another place. Okay, the second property is shape. Here I am taking this cube. I am placing this cube from one place to another place. Again I am placing this cube from one place to another place. Does the shape of the cube is changed? No, because it is a solid substance. So solid substances have fixed shape and fixed volume. Volume is nothing but occupying some space. When coming to liquids, liquids doesn't have fixed shape but it has fixed volume. To know this, here I am going to take two containers, one glass and another one is bowl. I am pouring some water in the glass. Okay, now here you can observe, when I pour the water in the glass, then the water changes into the glass shape. Now I am pouring the same water into the bowl. Then the water changes its shape into the bowl shape. So liquids doesn't have fixed shape but it has fixed volume because water is occupying same space. So liquids doesn't have fixed shape but it has fixed volume. When coming to gases, gases doesn't have fixed shape and fixed volume. Okay, here I am going to take two balloons. I am filling air in those balloons here. Here you can observe the balloons are in different shapes and different size, but those balloons are filled with air. So air is also an example of gases. So gases doesn't have fixed shape and fixed volume. So we had learned three properties. Now the fourth property is density. Solids have high density, liquids have average to high density, and gases have low density. Okay, now the next property is space between the particles. Solid substances does not have gap between them and their particles of solids are arranged in a systematic way. They have high attractive forces. When coming to liquids, liquids have some gap between the particles of liquids. The particles of liquids does not arranged in a systematic way. They have less attractive forces. And now gases. Gases doesn't have fixed shape and the particles have a large number of gap between them. There is no attractive forces between them and the particles of gases are not arranged in a systematic way. Now the next property is compressibility. So what is compressibility here? Do you know what is compressibility? Okay, a large volume of gases are compressed into small volume. It is considered as compressibility. Okay, to know compressibility in solids, here I am going to compress this bottle. It is not compressing. Now I am compressing this cube. It is also not compressing. So here you can observe, when I want to compress the solid substances, they cannot compress very easily. So solid substances are not compressible. When coming to liquids, here I am going to take one syringe and I am sucking water into the syringe. I am putting my finger on the nozzle and I am pressing the pistol. So here you can observe the water is compressing slightly. Okay, here you can observe the water is compressing very slightly. Okay, so here we can notice that liquids are slightly compressible. When coming to gases, now I am taking the same syringe and I am sucking air into the syringe. I am putting my finger on the nozzle and I am pressing the pistol. So what do you observe here? The air is compressing very easily. So gases are highly compressible. Okay, we had learnt about the properties of solids, liquids and gases. Solids are rigid. When coming to liquids and gases, they are not rigid. And solids have fixed shape, liquids and gases does not have fixed shape. Solids and liquids have fixed volume, gases does not have fixed volume. Okay, next, the particles of solids are arranged in a systematic way and there does not have gap between the particles of solids. When coming to liquids and gases, the particles of these two states of matter are not arranged in a systematic way. Okay, next is compressibility. Solids are not compressible, liquids are slightly compressible, gases are highly compressible. When coming to density, solids have high density, liquids have average to high density, gases have low density. Okay, we had learnt about properties of solids, liquids and gases. Now we are going to learn about sublimation. So do you know what is sublimation? Sublimation is nothing but the transition of substances directly from solid phase to gaseous phase without passing through the intermediate liquid phase. It is known as sublimation. For example, camphor. Okay, here I am taking one candle. I am burning this candle. Okay, now I am taking one spoon and one camphor. I am going to burn this camphor. So here you can observe the camphor is directly changing from solid phase to gaseous phase, and if you try it at home, you can smell it also. So it is also an example for sublimation. Okay, the camphor is directly changing from solid phase to gaseous phase. So it is an example for sublimation. Okay, and the another one is naphthalene ball. Do you know naphthalene ball? Yes, we use these naphthalene ball at home and we put these naphthalene balls in our clothes to smell good. If we observe the naphthalene balls, it day by day decreases its shape. How it is decreasing its shape? Because it is also directly changing from solid phase to gaseous phase without passing the liquid phase. So it is also an example for sublimation. So what is sublimation? The transition of substances directly from solid phase to gaseous phase. It is considered as sublimation. Okay, here you can see there are some examples of sublimation. They are iodine, snow, iceless, nath balls, mothballs and naphthalene balls, perfume, iodine. These are comes under the examples of sublimation because these are converting directly from solid phase to gaseous phase. Okay, today we have discussed about what is matter. Anything that occupies space and has mass, it is considered as matter. And the states of matter, there are 5 states of matter are there. They are solids, liquids, gases, plasma and Bose-Einstein condensate, BEC. And the next one is what is a matter made up of? A matter is made up of very tiny particles which are smaller beyond our imagination. And the next one is characteristics of particles. There are 4 main characteristics of particles are there. They are, the first one is the particles of matter are very small, and there is some gap between the particles of matter. The third one is the particles of matter moving continuously, and the fourth one is the particles of matter attract each other. And the next one is properties of solids, liquids and gases. We had learnt 7 properties here. They are rigid, rigidity, shape, volume, compressibility, density and space between the particles, attraction forces between the particles. And the last one is sublimation. Sublimation is nothing but the transition of substances directly from solid phase to gaseous phase. It is considered as sublimation. I hope all of you understand this topic. I am thankful to TSAT channel and my special thanks to Secretary Madam, Mahabubnagar Regional Coordinator Sir, Nagarjuna Rao Sir and Principal Madam, my mentor teacher. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am also thankful to my parents and friends who are supporting me to came here. Thank you each and everyone.